One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his step, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he pays his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to a Topless Taco Tuesday, even though it feels like a Monday to me because it's our first day back this week. But hey, great to see everyone. Yes, as you guys know, I did have to be at the doctor super early, the state doctor yesterday, and that went perfect. So anyways, to the craziness of the world, man, there's been a lot of things that have happened over the weekend and then leading up into yesterday and then obviously today. So listen, we're not going to go back as far as like the weekend and stuff like that, trying to get you guys up to speed on the weekend. I really don't have the time to be able to do that since now it's been like 3 full days. So basically we're going to start from yesterday time, and bring you guys to present today. So this is what we're looking at. U.S.-Iran talk updates. We have that for you guys, as well as Mullin confirmed DHS secretary, by the way, that did happen. And then we have a LaGuardia crash over there that at an I forget exactly what airport it was. I think it's New York, but nonetheless, terrible thing that happened there. We're going to go ahead and show you guys that footage for you guys as well. And then, of course, ICE at airports. So that's what we're looking at this morning. Let me go ahead and give you guys a chronological timeline of what we're actually going to be discussing, though. So deadly collision at LaGuardia forces airport closure, of course. And then we have the officials that are out there making a press conference over it. And then we have ambulances, that's plural, set on fire in suspected anti-Semitic attack. It says multiple ambulances belonging to a Jewish ambulance service were set on fire outside a synagogue in North London's Golders Green neighborhood Monday, which is, I don't know where the fuck that is, by the way. We're going to find that out together when we go over the story. And then we have some new developments with Trump on ICE masks in airports. So, yes, of course, he's going to break down that little bit right there. Air traffic audio captures moments before LaGuardia crash. We do have that for you guys as well. Then we're going to be discussing the Middle East, obviously. We're giving you guys an update. What to expect after Trump postpones attacks on Iranian power plants. Yes, because Trump has decided that he's not going to immediately go after those basically their power grid. 3 major ones he was looking at basically taken out. And he threatened it and said, you guys have 48 hours to go ahead and open up the strait. If you don't open up the strait, then we're going to go ahead and take out all those energy infrastructures. That did not happen. Trump came out and postponed it. So now we're going to go ahead and give you guys what that looks like now. And then some very interesting news that I saw yesterday on social media was a quadruple amputee cornhole player charged with murder. That's in-fucking-sane. And I actually gave you guys the wrong sound effect. I meant to use this one. But, so the guy, shoots guns, like he can shoot a pistol with his two nubs, they're just nubs for hands, and he actually holds it and can shoot it. And I thought that shit was crazy. It is crazy, and he actually killed somebody. And then we have breaking, U.S. Park Police officer shot in D.C., suspects at large. And they said suspects in plural. So it says, we are learning about breaking news story tonight after a member of the United States Park Police was shot on Monday in southeast Washington, D.C. According to the D.C. Police Union, the incident occurred in the 5,000 block of Queen Stroll Place, southeast. Officials say the officer was transported to a nearby hospital, initially in critical condition. We are also getting updates from partners from Fox as local police issue multiple road closures in connection with what is being called an ongoing investigation, of course. Then we have a little update on LaGuardia airport collision, NTSB questioning air traffic controller on duty. And yes, if you guys actually watch the whole ordeal, the plane is like just landed and it's making its approach for the rest of the runway. And then all of a sudden, this fire truck comes running out, or whatever it was. I think it's a fire truck. And then they collide into it, and it was terrible. And then we have, just as of 2 hours ago, Lebanon kicks Iran's ambassador out of Beirut, Lebanon. What? Holy shit. And then we have mask-free ICE agents begin patrolling U.S. airports. And that just came out an hour ago. So this is what we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bit of a crazy morning for sure. But listen, we're about to get into it. Let's go and do our call to actions, and then we got to get right into this. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. If you're on the vertical side, make sure you guys double tap that screen and hit that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday, of course. And then members only for Saturdays morning, man. And talking about memberships, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Follow my Instagram right here at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail, man. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. We have a Discord server for all of you legends as well down below in the video description down below of any live video. We have the invite link for all of you guys to make sure you guys join up. This is where we continue the conversation. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, by the way, we have these platforms that you guys can donate to. They're scrolling around the screen. And, of course, I'll read out loud anything that is sent our way. It's 100% proceeds get to stay with us. And listen, I'll read out loud whatever comes our way, just like a super chat. So I've got my email up, looking and scanning always. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to pretty much get right into this craziness. We got SST, we got Warland up in the building, we got Pops, my man, good morning to you. We got Easy Frank in the building as well. Brother So Loud, shout out to my man. We got Steve Easy as well. Rabbit of Chaos. Naomi, good morning to you. Great to see you guys. Cameron, good morning. And Papa Penguin, appreciate all of you guys for hanging out with us this morning. We got Lappy as well. We got Virginia Chaos as well. I see him right there. There he is. I was lost yesterday, not getting my daily news, man. Well, we're here. We're back, man. It just shows maybe that not only am I somebody that helps you guys out, but you guys help me out as well, man, on every show. We got Charlie in the building. Shout out to you. Good morning to you. We got Chatting with Stacks as well. And Steve Easy says, Fox has gone full retard. I agree with that. We got Roger in the building as well. Good morning to you, kind sir. We got Seymour Cannabis as well. Thank you all for being here. We got Miss Lotus. Thank you very much. We got Ralph as well. All right, guys, we're going to get right into the very first story. We got a lot to discuss. We're going to go ahead and talk about the LaGuardia Forces airport closure on when this very first thing happened. We're not going to listen to the whole thing. We're going to try to get some context out of it. If there's not much, then we'll move on.
Good morning.
Speed it up too.
Approximately 11:40 last night.
She just sounds absolutely, I mean, yes, it's a terrible incident, but you just sound like miserable. Like personally, you just sound miserable. I already don't want to listen to you.
Air Canada Flight 8646, operated by Jazz, collided with a Port Authority aircraft rescue and firefighting vehicle.
Thank you, Miss
on
Lotus.
runway 4. The plane carried 72 passengers and 4 crew. The ARFF vehicle carried 2 officers. In accordance with our emergency plan, our mutual aid partners
What's up, AU? Great to see you in the chat, bro. Good morning.
FDNY and NYPD immediately responded. Initial numbers indicate that 41
Outlaw,
passengers
good morning.
and crew were transported to the hospital, as well as the ARF officers. At this time, we understand that
I've got a question. She's or he is speaking like as if like really like it's a tranny. I mean, whether it is or isn't, it's actually irrelevant. But I'm just saying, just the voice has got me. You know, I don't know.
32 have been released, but there are also serious injuries.
What is happening? Get on with it.
Sadly,
They're making phone calls and shit.
Sadly, the two pilots are confirmed deceased, and notifications are being made by Air Canada's care team at this time. Families were directed to the Air Canada ticket counter to be reunited with their
What's up, Brother 13? Great to see you in the chat, bro, and happy Topless Taco Tuesday to you as well.
families, and we understand that the one unaccompanied minor has been reunited with their families. It is anticipated that the airport will be closed at least until 2 p.m. this afternoon to facilitate the investigation by NTSB, which has already begun to be on site. At this time, I'll take any questions.
Yeah, they're actually like making phone calls, Naomi. It wasn't like they were receiving a phone call, which you can't really help. People over there making phone calls on speaker and shit. What the fuck is going on? Anyways, these guys are they're gonna ask some questions and they're not gonna answer any of this shit. I'm telling you, I can tell by her and what she's doing there. We're not going to get anything out of it, so we're not going to go ahead and waste our time. We have a lot of updates on that whole story, but at least you guys know that happened right away, that they shut it down and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, we're going to move on. Ambulances set on fire in suspected anti-Semitic attack. And yes, ambulances in plural. They're going after, apparently, says multiple ambulances belonging to a Jewish ambulance service were set on fire outside a synagogue in North London's Golders Green neighborhood Monday. All right, so let's go ahead and bring this up and we'll go ahead and discuss it and see what the fuck is going on. And then we'll get back into LaGuardia or whatever it's called. All right, here we go.
In the meantime, let's get to yet another story that we're following closely. It's going to take us out to London in the UK. And I want to
Okay, so it is in London. Okay.
This. It's a social media post courtesy of UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. He says the anti-Semitic arson attack in Golders Green is horrifying. I've been in touch with Jewish community leaders this morning and will continue to do so throughout the day. An attack on our Jewish community is an attack on us all. We will fight the poison that is anti-Semitism. This post is in regards to 4 ambulances that belong to a Jewish charity.
Oh, shit, Steve Easy. Yeah, that's not surprising, actually.
In London, they were set on fire early Monday morning in London in what British police are investigating as an anti-Semitic hate crime. We did get a brief update from investigators down there on the scene in London earlier today, in case you missed it. I'm going to play for you next.
Members from the ambulance service and members from the NHS as well. So if I can start by asking Mr. Streeting, what's your reaction to the attack this morning?
This is a shocking, cowardly and despicable act of evil, an attack on the heart of London's Jewish community and on an attack on an ambulance service.
Yeah, but did any people die?
Whose sole reason for being is to provide health and care and emergency response to the local community. The police are working at pace to catch those responsible. The Prime Minister and the Home Secretary will have more to say about that. But when it comes to our response today to support our friends in the community with the ambulance service, with London Ambulance Service will today be providing additional support to make sure that the charity is supported to respond to anyone in need. So the important message to the local Jewish community, indeed to Londoners more widely, if you need help from the ambulance service today, seek it. We will be there for you.
Yeah, Steve Easy. Chip, chip, cheerio, and all that sort of nonsense.
But the Jewish community should not be left footing the bill
up,
for
Extra
this
Surprise?
despicable attack, which is why tomorrow morning, at the latest, we will have 4 ambulances in place to replace those that have been destroyed. And we'll be working to replace those ambulances on a permanent basis, and we will fund the replacement of those ambulances. Those responsible for this attack must know that the Jewish community will not face up to this hatred alone. The whole country will stand with them. And when we think about some of the recent anti-Semitic attacks we've seen in this country, now is a time for all decent-minded people to stand up, to speak up with one voice, that we will stand with the Jewish community here and across the country in confronting this vile anti-Semitism.
Mr. Streeting, you sit down in BBC News. What do you say to the Jewish community who feel that they have been protected in these attacks?
And if you guys look right here, it's on the bottom right side, it says aftermath of LaGuardia collision. That is the plane, Air Canada, the actual plane itself that ran into that. I don't know if it's a fire truck or if it was one of those. I think it was a fire truck, but nonetheless, that's the aftermath right there. It's still sitting there. Well, it was yesterday or whatever.
There is no doubt that what this attack was designed to do is to strike fear into the hearts of Jewish people here in Golders Green, but also across the country. And as a member of parliament who represents a significant Jewish community,
I 100,000% agree with that, Papa Penguin, especially if they're volunteer. You know, it's like burning down a volunteer firefighter, you know, a fire station or something like that. Like, that's crazy.
London. I know that what's happened here will be felt painfully and acutely by all Jewish people across our country. The aim of these attackers is clear. They want Jewish people in this country to live smaller lives, to live less Jewish lives, to be less visible as Jewish people, to fear going about Jewish life, whether that's attending school with their kids, shul with their families at weekends, or providing the services and support that makes the Jewish community one of the most resilient, strong and proud communities in the country. I know that the Jewish community will not be cowed by this despicable act of evil, but it is the responsibility of the rest of us not to be bystanders. Every decent person in this country needs to stand up and speak up against this vile anti-Semitic hatred. And of course, the best form of solidarity is practical solidarity, which is why today our London Ambulance Service colleagues will be providing support to the team here in Golders Green to make sure that we don't skip a beat when it comes to responding to emergency call-outs. And
well, that's good.
We will also, by tomorrow morning, be providing 4 replacement ambulances, initially on loan until we can provide permanent replacements. The Jewish community should not be left footing the bill for this appalling attack on a brilliant ambulance service staffed by brilliant, highly trained and committed volunteers, almost all of whom were up in the middle of the night responding not only to this attack, but to responding to call-outs, even as their own service had been set on fire by these vile attackers. Together we will stand and we will confront and beat anti-Semitism. But this—
Wow, he really is going on, isn't he?
A few moments later.
It's a little too much catering.
Cannot be left to the Jewish community alone. All of us have to respond. And yes, of course, we continue to support our friends at the Community Security Trust to invest more in Jewish security, and the Home Secretary will have more to say about that. But the answer cannot simply be higher walls, thicker doors, more CCTV. We also have to deal with this hatred at its source. We have to confront and beat the evil ideas that are permeating in our society. Anti-Semitism is an old hatred, but it is alive and kicking in our country, and all of us, particularly those who are not Jewish, have to wake up, stand up, and work with our Jewish friends and neighbours in confronting—
Man, he's just going.
And defeating this despicable hatred.
Okay, boom. That's where we're going to end it. Right there. We're moving on. We're ready to move on. All right. Trump on ice masks in airports. Let's go ahead and bring that up here in a second. We got Brother So Loud dropping a fat $10 donation, by the way. Thank you for the 10 spot, saying, keep up the great work, brother. I very much appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. That shit goes a long way. The shit adds up very, very quick. Guys, we've got well over 400 people in here between both the live streams. Make sure you guys double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side and hit that like button if you're on the horizontal. I very much appreciate it. You guys don't have to love all the craziness that's happening around the world, but you guys can like it for me and what we do here. So anyways, let's go ahead and get the money part over.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
And that's facts.
Denied.
All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and bring up this next story. So let's go ahead and bring up Trump on ice masks in airports.
The Democrats are fully to blame with the struggle of the great American public is going through at the airports. They're going through a big struggle right now, and we just put ICE in charge, and they're helping TSA, the agents, and they're working together so far very well. I actually suggested that in the airports they take off their masks, and they did that. In the airports, I'm a big believer in the mask because we have, Biden allowed hundreds of thousands of killers into our country. We're rapidly getting them out, by the way. But they they would go after these people if they knew exactly who they were.
What's up, 5150? Good morning and happy Topless Taco Tuesday to you, kind sir.
But in the airports, it's different. I didn't love the look in the airport as you get off the plane. So I made a request and they agreed to it. So they're not going to be doing that. We would also bring out, if we don't have enough, we will bring out the National Guard and, where we need it to help out at the airports. But we're not going to let this happen. It's extortion by the Democrats. They're holding up money that's already been approved. And now they're willing to go $5 billion reduction in ICE in order to get the approval on a deal that they approved, the great big beautiful deal, which is the biggest tax cut in history, the biggest regulation cut in history. They want to basically renegotiate a deal that they already approved. And they're doing it largely for a criminal element. So also the Democrats are putting our country at great risk during this period of time, a period that they call a war. They call it a war. We call it a military operation. Their leaders during this time are, as you want to say, they're in a never land. Schumer is gone.
Oh, I forgot to give a special shout out. My man Motobomb Virginia, as well as the coffee crew, rated us this morning. So I forgot to give a big shout out to you, Moto. So thank you for that. I really appreciate the love and support that you guys give, man.
I mean, he's a Palestinian. He should be fighting on the side of Palestine. He's actually become a Palestinian leader. I don't know. I've never seen a man change so much. He used to be pro-Israel. Now he's pro-Palestine. I've never seen anything like it. And, he's worried he's going to lose his next election, which it only depends if anybody runs against him. If anybody runs against him, he'll lose. But he's gone very wacky and very dangerous for our country. But we want all of those things. We have to have them. We want voter ID. We want proof of citizenship as part of our funding. We want to merge them so that we get the great, big, beautiful bill in action, and we can get the American.
My man Sterling Will coming in and gifting out a membership. My man, helping me, and you're helping someone in the Insane Wheels family. I very much appreciate that, kind sir, and good morning. Great to see you.
And Save America. They called it the SAVE Act, but nobody knew what the SAVE Act was. So I said, you have to call it, under any circumstances, you have to call it the Save America Act, because everybody knows what that is.
Well, there was the SAVE Act, and now there's the Save America Act, which basically are kind of the same thing. The SAVE Act wasn't popular enough to pass, so they redid it.
So they want funding taken away from the ICE patriots who are responsible for getting rid of the criminals that Sleepy Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, and his gang of thugs in the White House. You talk about weaponization. They weaponize everybody. When Pam looks at somebody, it's weaponization. They've indicted me. What they've done to me and everybody else, it's a disgrace. They're the weaponizers, and what they've done to people, can never let that happen again. We can never let them get away with it again. They are the greatest weaponizers. Fortunately, it didn't work because...
Man, you know what? If I ever became president, Steve Easy, that's the first thing that I would pass. Big Booty Latinas Act. Yes, that's phenomenal.
Here I am with you. So it didn't work out too well. Didn't work out too well.
And that should be the end of this.
But they want to have people come into our country. And so many of these people are murderers.
Oh, geez. All right, here we go. We're going into air traffic audio captures moments before the LaGuardia crash, which is that plane crash that you guys saw a little bit earlier. Let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll go ahead and discuss it.
And there was also plenty of questions about exactly what happened and who was in the air traffic controller, who was in the tower during those fateful moments leading up to this. And we were getting a sense of that. They did release in part some of what's going on. And this is chilling audio as the air traffic controller in the aftermath said, quote, "I messed up." Let's listen into this here in full.
The vehicle needs to cross the runway.
Look how fucked that thing got. Damn.
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower. Truck 1 and Company. Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower, requesting to cross.
Now, both pilots died in this whole ordeal, by the way.
4 at Delta. Truck 1 and Company, cross 4 at Delta. Truck 1 and Company, 4 at Delta. Frontier 4195, stop there, please. Stop, Truck 1, stop. Stop, Truck 1, stop. Stop, Truck 1, stop. Delta 2603, go around, runway heading 2000. 646. 646, the vehicle, I have a vehicle in the pole position. I know he can't move. The vehicle's responding to you now.
Is the runway closed?
Delta 2603, go around, runway heading 2000.
Alright, 2000, go around, Delta 2603. LaGuardia Tower.
Truck 2, runway 4 is closed. Yes, go on to runway 4 now. See on runway 4, you have access.
Tower, car 0, runway 422 is closed at the time.
90, roger.
LaGuardia, Tower, vehicle 98.
98. 98. Vehicle 98.
Vehicle 98, please show at this time. Runway 422 is closed. 422 is closed at this time.
Terrible.
Tower, car 0, LaGuardia Airport is closed at this time.
So 2603, runway 3000, go to approach 20.8 now.
3000, over.
South 988, cross 13 Romeo, left at Papa. South 988, cross 13 Romeo, left at Papa.
We'll cross 13 on
What's up, Chrono? Good morning.
Southwest, 3988.
All right, you're just listening into some of those chilling moments, and that was less than 3 minutes of everything went down as this deadly crash between an Air Canada jet and a fire truck that was making its way to another plane that reported a odor on board.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on into the next part. We're going to get a Middle East update here. What to expect after Trump postpones attacks on Iranian power plants. As you guys know, I told you guys on the top of the hour, Trump made a threat, said if you guys don't open up the strait over there in Iran, then we're going to go ahead and take out all your energy infrastructure, basically. We'll take the lights out. And so then Trump said, you know what, we're not going to go ahead and do that. We had great communications. We had negotiations that went well, and we're not going to do that yet. So let's go ahead and bring up this, and we'll go ahead and discuss it. I think also one thing that we need to do is all of us need to embrace thy fuck up. We haven't done that part yet.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Listen, I just embraced the process right there of StreamYard just fucking up right there. I went to click it, and then it wouldn't play, and then I had to switch to another clip to bring back to that other one to start it over again. Yeah, okay, we just embrace our shit. Whatever.
Denied.
Here we go. We're going to discuss this. Let's get into it.
Some potential movement in this conflict in Iran as President Trump pushing back a threat to Iran over closing the Strait of Hormuz. For more on this, let's go out
What's up, Joseph? Good morning.
Hunt with this report.
President Trump may be willing to give peace a chance and, for the moment, hold off on attacking Iran's energy infrastructure. But that isn't stopping the U.S. or Israel from hitting military and regime targets in Tehran and beyond. As the head of the International Red Cross warns, Iranian civilians are being caught up in the waves of attacks. But in the wake of Iran launching its longest-range missiles yet, targeting a joint U.S.-UK base some 2,500 miles away in the Indian Ocean, Israel's Prime Minister says there can be no let-up in the pressure.
If you want proof that Iran endangers the entire world, the last 48 hours have given it. They have now the capacity to reach deep into Europe. They already have fired on a European country, Cyprus. They are putting everyone in their sights.
Yes, and there is a ring showing the growth of what Iran can actually hit, and Europe is a little bit a part of it right now.
As Iran continues to fire cluster bombs at Israel and neighboring countries, it's also threatening to hit vital infrastructure like desalination.
Yeah, this is crazy. We got Steve Easy letting us know. Like, you guys are crazy, man. We got well over 700 people in here right now. Make sure you guys double tap that screen and hit that like button if you're on the horizontal side. Listen, you don't have to love all the craziness that's happening around the world, but you guys can like it for me and what we do here. So thank you guys. Here we go.
Nation plants that supply drinking water to Gulf nations and power plants that provide electricity to American military bases. Although that threat appears to have diminished following President Trump backing off the U.S. threat to target Iran's energy sites. But as more U.S. assault ships and Marines are heading for the region, Iran's Defense Council is threatening to deploy mines in the Gulf and along the coasts, keeping the commercially critical Strait of Hormuz closed to almost all shipping. Amid the talk about talks, it's worth noting that
this guy is funny.
The missile attacks from Iran have diminished somewhat.
His face is very animated.
What here in Israel and across Gulf nations over the last 24 hours or so, which might be a sign that Iran is allowing some breathing room for negotiations, even as it denies those negotiations are taking place. In Tel Aviv, Jonathan Hunt,
Fox News.
All right, thank you so much for that. As Trump's turnaround, which held out the possibility of resolving this war now in its fourth week, served to drive oil prices and jolt stocks upward. This was the poll.
Now, I hope if they bring on anybody to discuss this, I hope they bring on Hal Kempfer for this. But we're not going to listen to the whole thing, obviously. We have a lot to still get through this morning.
That really got the market moving in a big way, as President Trump said over the last 2 days.
What's up, Hardwire?
Very good, productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. Iran denied the talks are being held, saying no negotiations have been held with the United States. President Trump saying they held it with a respected individual. Let's be joined right now from the ASU Future Security Initiative co-director, Daniel Rothenberg. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from
I've actually never heard this guy speak before, so I'm interested.
And this may signal the IRGC is a little bit more scattered than we previously thought. How big of a development? How much does President Trump actually want peace in this region?
Well, thank you so much for having me. We don't really know what President Trump is seeking. It's always good news to hear a de-escalation in the Middle East. The potential scope of this conflict is really quite terrifying. We've already seen really extraordinary potential dislocation of just a core part of the global economy. The Strait of Hormuz is currently closed with just a handful of tankers able to pass through. And it's a dangerous time. So if there's movements towards de-escalation, I think that's something we're celebrating.
Yeah, and obviously President Trump didn't want to reveal exactly who they spoke to, as he told reporters that they want to make a deal, claiming the U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff and the son-in-law Jared Kushner held talks with an Iranian leader on Sunday. If it is someone with some power, how much of a movement is that? Does it a sign that the IRGC is somewhat scattered if they're not necessarily all saying that these negotiations happened?
I suppose it's hard for us sitting out here to know what's happening on the ground in a lot of different respects. We don't know that the governing system is scattered. I mean, they produced a sort of decentralized system. That seems pretty clear because, the opening salvo of this war was a decapitation action, really quite extraordinary, quite destructive, and something, worth reflecting on, which is taking out the supreme leader and all other key leaders within the Iranian regime. But Iran is still there. Iran is fighting back, one could say, pretty successfully when you consider the extraordinary disparity between U.S. and Israeli firepower and situation on the ground with the Iranian military.
Yeah, they just geographically have a better, the straits right there. And the coastline of Iran can hit all of the strait, obviously. So that's a choke point that's super dangerous.
Does it give you a little bit of a pause, though, because we talked about it, that ultimatum? It was 48 hours. Monday evening was the deadline. Now President Trump postponing it, not necessarily calling off those U.S. strikes to different energy sites. Do we have to be cautious about how optimistic we are about this?
I mean, we have to be cautious about all optimism right now. The Iranian attacks on Qatar liquefied natural gas, the head of the CEO of Qatar Energy suggested that it would do severe damage, 17% damage over 5 years in the ability of Qatar to export LNG. Now, we don't know if that's exactly right, but just something like that is really profoundly destabilizing to the global economy. I pick that out only because it's one moment.
Well, here's the thing that you guys may or may not already know about. I'm going to pull up a map real quick, and then I'll go ahead and discuss it. So just give me a second. I'm going
this
to pull
larger
that up.
conflict that could destabilize the global trading system. Should we be optimistic? It's always good to be optimistic. The one thing we know from Donald Trump is he makes a lot of claims and provides a lot of deadlines and ultimatums. It's very hard to know what to make of that. I think it's hard for world leaders, or whether allies or adversaries, to make sense of what that kind of posturing means. I don't think we're in.
Okay, so let me go ahead and share this screen real quick. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown here. So as you guys see here, this is Iran right here, and this is the Strait. Okay, so the Strait of Hormuz right here going into the Persian Gulf, right? So now here's the problem. What's very interesting about the axis of resistance is that Yemen hasn't gotten themselves involved yet. Yemen Houthi rebels, okay? And the Houthis primarily live have all control right here. So they have actually fucked up this entire shipping lane multiple times. This shipping lane is extremely dangerous, when it's active, okay? So what I'm getting at here is Yemen could jump in here at any time and basically shut down this strait. This is I can't even say it correctly, Bab al-Mandab Strait. Anyways, that's the strait over there by Yemen. these motherfuckers could shut that shit down too. So not only the global the global oil exports and shit that comes out of here, but as well as here. So they can stop pretty much a lot of shit. And this could be a lot worse than what we're actually experiencing right now. So just letting you guys know to be looking out, because the Houthis could join in basically at any moment and shut that whole shit down. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on from this aspect. We're gonna move on a little bit. We're not gonna listen to this guy ramble on for 20 minutes or whatever. We're gonna go into a really interesting breaking story that happened yesterday, and I saw it happen. I think it was yesterday afternoon or evening. Anyways, there's a quadruple amputee cornhole player charged with murder. Now, I actually saw this on social media yesterday, that this guy was being accused of murder or being charged with murder. And there's a video of him with his hands, his nubs. He doesn't have hands. He's got nubs. And he's shooting, and he's got no feet either. But he's sitting there, and he kind of props up a pistol and is able to shoot it. Bah, 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 bah. I mean, he racks it and everything. I'm like sitting there going, oh, shit, this motherfucker can actually get down. And yeah, I guess he actually did, do something here. So let's go and bring this up.
To Live Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. The unbelievable headline of all
What's up, Tiffany? Good morning.
Headlines: as a professional cornhole player with no arms and no legs is accused of murder in Maryland. You can see this from our Fox 5 DC partners there in Charles County, as Dayton James Weber of La Plata is accused of shooting and killing Bradrick Michael Wells during an argument. Let's take you out right now to our Fox 5 team on this report.
In the investigation, but there is no evidence at this point to suggest anybody else was involved in the shooting, and that he acted alone on this.
Look at this. Look at this. This is the video I saw.
Now watch closely.
Yeah, this is the video I saw on social media yesterday.
You're looking at the man accused of murder in this
Look,
case.
he's racking
video
it
from his TikTok page titled "No Hands, No Feet, Shooting 9mm Handgun." His name is Dayton James Weber, a 27-year-old quadruple...
Like what, motherfucker?
...amputee and professional cornhole player.
Professional cornhole?
This all started around 10:30 last night when La Plata police officers were flagged down by two witnesses near Radio Station Road. Charles County Sheriff's investigators say Weber was the driver when he shot and killed his front seat passenger, then asked those in the back seat to help get rid of the body. They refused, got out of the car, and alerted police. Weber took off with the victim in the car, identified as 27-year-old Bradrick Wells. 2 hours later, and about
What's up, Charlotte? Good morning to you.
15 miles away, Wells's body was found dumped in someone's front yard in Charlotte Hall, Maryland. Soon after, Weber's car was tracked to a gas station in Charlottesville, Virginia. He was found at a hospital nearby and arrested after his release.
I think the witnesses helping really gave us a good start, obviously, and then it was excellent police work with not only our detectives and La Plata Police.
What's up, Big Dan? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the
also
chat.
the authorities in Virginia.
All right, we're going to continue to follow this as this professional cornhole player, quadruple amputee, accused of murder in Maryland.
I don't know, but he actually does do it, Jimmy. It's crazy. And then he actually can rack it and shoot it.
Maryland, of course, Weber was located by police in a hospital in Charlottesville, Virginia, arrested and charged as a fugitive from justice. He'll be extradited to Charles County, charged with first-degree murder, second-degree murder as well.
Cameron, you're not even joking right there. He could have taken his whole story and really done amazing shit with it, and instead he goes and does this.
As other charges. So
that's terrible. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on. We have some breaking news as of yesterday, last night, I guess. We're learning about a breaking news story tonight, which was last night, after a member of the United States Park Police was shot Monday in Southeast Washington, D.C. So this was breaking yesterday. U.S. Park Police officers shot in D.C. Suspects at large. And yeah, suspects with plural. Is what they're saying. So let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll discuss it briefly here. And also, we gotta give you guys better propaganda. Let's go ahead and give you guys the best propaganda I got.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking money.
Hell yeah. All right, let's get into this.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Shauna Kalafi with some breaking news out of Washington, D.C. This is a live look at the scene right now as a member of the U.S. Park Police was shot tonight in southeast Washington, D.C. Officials say that officer was transported to a hospital in critical condition. We also have this posted on X by FBI Director Kash Patel saying he is praying for the Park Police officer shot in Washington, D.C. He says the FBI is actively supporting this investigation alongside our law enforcement partners and will bring those responsible to justice. We will provide updates as we are able. Please keep the officer and their family in your prayers. We also have this from Attorney General Pam Bondi saying, I've spoken to Mayor Bowser and Police Chief Carroll and was briefed on the shooting. The FBI, DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshals, and all of our partner agencies will assist Metro Police Department in any way that we can. Please pray for the officer's recovery.
That came from Pam Bondi.
Good evening. About 7:30 p.m. this evening, members of the U.S. Park Police were traveling in the 5,000 block of Queen Stroll Place Southeast during an ongoing law enforcement investigation. At this time, as they're traveling in that street, officers were ambushed by at least 2 gunmen at that location. During the gunfire, officer was struck, continued traveling up the road where he pulled over, where first aid was rendered at that time. He was then transported to the hospital by the U.S. Park Police Aviation Unit, where he's receiving treatment for non-life-threatening injuries. At this time, the U.S. Park Police are, and along with our partners at Metropolitan Police Department, this is a collaborative investigation, a joint investigation along with all of our federal partners who've offered support during this. We are seeking 2 suspects, 2 black males. One was wearing a white hoodie with blue jeans. The other was wearing all black with white stripe down the sleeve and down the pant leg. Yes, sir.
I appreciate that, Cameron. Yes, make sure you guys hit that like button. Let's get the likes up. Double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Thank you, guys.
Yes, he was.
And what was the U.S. Park Police? What were they doing in this neighborhood?
It was an ongoing Park Police investigation. Well, we're not going to go into the specifics of the type of investigation, but it was a U.S. Park Police investigation.
The 2 suspects, how did they get away? Did they run? Were they in a getaway car?
We're not going to get into too much of the specifics at this time of that investigation.
So you're not going to tell us anything about the fucking... So you're not going to tell us anything. Great. All right, we're moving on. LaGuardia Airport collision. NTSB questioning air traffic controller on duty, as we gave you guys that audio from earlier. Let's go ahead and bring this up and discuss.
In the meantime, I do want to get to some of the other big stories that we are covering here at this hour. Take a look.
Look at that.
This
thing.
is a live look as the investigation into an incident there at LaGuardia Airport continues at this hour. We know that an Air Canada Express flight struck a rescue vehicle after landing, killing a pilot and co-pilot. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy saying 72 passengers and 4 crew members were on that plane, with 40 of them taken to hospitals. 2 people on the fire truck also transported.
What's up, No? Great to see you in the chat. And happy Topless Taco Tuesday to you and everybody.
Right now, I do want to bring in Matthew Wiz Buckley, former American Airlines and FedEx pilot, also retired Navy FA-18 fighter pilot, and founder of the No Fallen Heroes Foundation, to discuss all of this. Wiz, thank you so much for always being here with us to help kind of break down, unfortunately, situations like this one.
Good morning, Josh. Good to see you again. Yeah, it's obviously a tragedy, but let's debrief it.
Yeah.
I don't have it. Let me go ahead and pull it up, though. I will pull it up for you.
I wanted to start off by asking you here, as you watch kind of all of this play out, you get the information that comes in about the situation as a whole. I mentioned here you are a former American Airlines pilot. What goes through your mind at this point as all those details are starting to emerge?
Well, Josh, sadly, as you and I have talked for a long time here, about 80% of aviation mishaps are human error, and that's just immediately what's popping up. I mean, you can hear, sadly, the local controller or the ground controller.
Okay, so I really hope, man, this is the part that I really hope that this is not copywritten. Let's go ahead and use ABC and see if they have the impact. Yes, they do. They showed it on the news, which thank God now that I can actually show it. Unfortunately, like places like New York Post and all these places, they make copyright on this shit. So here we go. This is ABC on the news, so I can use it.
Tonight, new video posted on X showing the terrifying moment in Air Canada.
This is the best video I've seen, by the way, on social media and on YouTube, by the way.
The flight slams into a
see here you go.
Fire truck.
There's the fire truck coming in as they hit back.
LaGuardia
Boom.
Airport.
I know that's really terrible quality, but that's as high quality as we can actually get. It's just recorded off of a phone from the monitor. So let's go ahead and play that again. Uninterrupted.
Tonight, new video posted on X showing the terrifying moment an Air Canada flight slams into a fire truck at New York's LaGuardia Airport.
Damn, bro.
A passenger recording just moments after escaping the plane, others still filing out as the nose of the plane tips up. An Air Canada Express flight from Montreal colliding with a fire truck on the runway.
Stop, truck one. Stop. Stop, truck one. Stop.
The crash killing the pilot and co-pilot.
There was an aviation disaster, the likes of which we have not seen here in over 3 decades.
This was a high-impact crash. We're talking likely over 100 miles per hour. And one of the flight attendants had her back towards the cockpit because she was sitting in the jump seat. The force of this crash ejected her from the aircraft.
That flight attendant among the more than 41 of the 76 people on board, and 2 in that fire truck hospitalized.
The process.
The crash.
This is a crash that happened yesterday, my man, over there at LaGuardia Airport in New York.
Fueling fresh flying fears.
We are at a breaking point, and now you add.
He ran into a fire truck that was running into the runway, was trying to cross, and they both collided at the exact same time.
A government shutdown, chaos at the airports, and that only adds one more layer of stress to an already stressed out system.
Coming after thousands of TSA agents calling out from work.
Yeah, no kidding,
Saturday.
Charles. No kidding.
After the tragic collision, LaGuardia, one of the nation's busiest airports, closing down immediately, further complicating travel in the New York area. LaGuardia, one of the nation's busiest airports, closing down immediately. The FAA issuing a ground stop for all planes headed there. Over a dozen redirected to surrounding airports.
Look at that shit.
LaGuardia Airport is closed at this time. No aircraft in or out.
LaGuardia reopening with just one runway after a 14-hour shutdown.
Damn.
Before it was struck, the fire truck, a part of a fleet responding to a call for another plane reporting an unusual odor.
There was a lot going
What's up, Lee Lance? Great to see you in the chat, bro. Good morning.
on at the time of this accident. So it was rainy, visibility was not great, there was fog, there was a United aircraft that had an emergency, so the fire crew was looking to get across the runway quickly to help United.
To see you collide with a vehicle there, just hold position. I know you can't move. The vehicles are responding to you now.
The plane's nose in shreds, hanging into the runway below. The mangled fire truck on its side in the grass, surrounded by debris.
All of a sudden, boom, woke up in shock, just didn't know what to do. People were just in shock, like people were like caving in, just heard a loud bang, and then everyone's like freaking out, not knowing what to do.
Moments before the crash, the truck asking for permission to cross a runway.
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower requesting to cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company crossing 4 at Delta.
But soon after, telling the truck to stop.
Stop, Truck 1. Stop. Stop, Truck 1. Stop.
That warning apparently coming too late. The air traffic controller shortly after heard talking to a Frontier pilot who witnessed the collision.
Frontier 4195, I got the word that we're going to be closed for a little while. If you want prepared to return to the ramp, let me know.
Yeah, we got stuff in process for that, man. That wasn't good to watch.
Yeah, I know I was here. I tried to reach out to my stuff, and we were dealing with an emergency earlier.
No, man, you did the best you could.
Wow, brutal.
NTSB now
Terrible.
deep into investigating how this could have happened.
Clearly human error. Somebody made a mistake in clearing the fire truck across the runway. But why did that mistake happen? That's what the FAA needs to figure out. Was somebody distracted when they shouldn't have been distracted? Was the United emergency flight
There it is.
distracted?
That's the crash right there.
It takes
Boom.
months, sometimes up to a year.
All right, real quick. I'm going to replay that. I'm going to allow this to continue because it's only 20 seconds left. I'm going to replay the actual collision video, and then we'll get on.
Before we get the findings of that investigation.
I want New Yorkers to know that the National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the cause of this accident, and that we will not rest until the conclusion of that investigation.
Donnie speaking about it. All right, so let's go ahead and bring it back to show you guys the actual collision real quick. Here we go.
Tonight, new video posted on X showing the terrifying moment an Air Canada flight slams into a fire truck at New York's LaGuardia Airport.
God. Just terrible.
A passenger recording just moments after escaping the plane. Others still filing out as the nose of the plane tips up. And Air Canada...
Yeah, that's totally brutal, man. All right, we're going to move on. Lebanon kicks Iran's ambassador out of Beirut, over there in Beirut, Lebanon. Let's go ahead and bring that up and discuss it real quick. This just happened this morning, so let's go ahead and talk about it.
Welcome in here on Live Now from Fox. We are just past the top of the hour here, 8:07 on the East Coast and 5:07 on the West Coast. My name is Josh Breslow, and I'll be here for the next hour as we break down all of your top stories, breaking news, and live events from across the country and the world. Right now, I do want to take you out to this post here as we're following breaking news out of the Middle East. Israel targeting the IRGC strongholds in Iran and the Iran-backed Hezbollah terror group in Lebanon. But as Israel continues to battle both of them, Lebanon has now kicked out Iran's ambassador, giving him until Sunday to leave the country. This is a post right here on your screen coming in from Lebanon's foreign ministry. It says, quote, I instructed today the Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and emigrants to summon the Iranian ambassador there in Lebanon to inform him of the decision to withdraw the agreement for the designated Iranian ambassador and request that he leave Lebanese territory no later than Sunday. Again, you can see that.
Damn. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. Let's get them likes up, man. I very much appreciate it.
Post right there on your screen. All of this as the situation continues to play out. Week 4 of the war between the U.S. and Israel against Iran, and now, as we know, several Gulf Arab states getting in on it as well. Right now, I do want to bring in Javed Ali with the University of Michigan to help break all this down. Of course, he's worked with the Defense Intelligence Agency, the Department of Homeland Security, and the FBI. Javed, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us this morning.
Yes, this guy.
Why are you gay?
Josh, always great to be with you. Thank you.
And first off, I wanted to kind of ask you about the significance of that, because that is just coming in here. We know Lebanon saying that Iran's ambassador has to get out of there. We also know that the Iran-backed Hezbollah terror group is there in Lebanon.
So interesting move with the statement from the Lebanese government indicating that they are basically demanding that the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon has to leave within a few days. Is this symbolic, or is it yet another move that puts pressure, additional pressure both on Iran and Hezbollah? Because as you and I have talked about, and as many of your viewers know,
real quick, my brother Lee Lance coming in with the $2, man. I very much appreciate it. Making it rain in the chat, man. Saying man down. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
That relationship between both Iran and Hezbollah goes back for decades. Iran was in large part responsible for the creation of Hezbollah in Lebanon, going back to the early 80s. So even though the ambassador, the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon doesn't have sort of day-to-day influence over Hezbollah as an organization, it does send a message. Now, it'll be interesting to see how Iran responds to that. And Hezbollah, will Hezbollah attack the Lebanese government over this? Probably not. But again, it's another step in the direction of putting more pressure on both Iran and Hezbollah.
And I want to pop this up on your screen. This is actually a live look over Beirut there in Lebanon, as we know that Israel, the military there, says...
And Israel has definitely fucked up a lot of these buildings already.
They have been carrying out these strikes against the Hezbollah strongholds in that area. And that's, of course, in addition to what's going on there in Iran with the IRGC stronghold.
Hey, real quick, we got Naomi sending in $5 for the new cam fund. Yes! You guys don't know, getting a new camera is extremely expensive. And I'm not going to, like, cheap out. You know, I want to make sure I get the real deal. You know what I mean? Anyways, the shit's going to cost me, like, I don't know, like, a total about, like, $2,000 to make sure I can do it. So, anyways, it's a big bill, and it's not like I have just $2,000 to throw around at a camera. But yes, we're going to be making that shit happen by you guys. So thank you for that, Naomi.
Not seeing any smoke coming up here now. We know we saw some just a little bit earlier. But again, the IDF saying they are continuing those strikes with no end in sight there. I wanted to ask you just kind of where everything stands at this point. When we talk about week 4, we've heard from President Trump. He has said this could end soon, that he's working with Iranian officials to kind of come up with a deal that would end this altogether. So where do things stand? Are we closer to...
Yeah, I'm using a webcam right now. It's the Logitech 4K Brio. And I think you can get them now for like $150, something like that. But yeah, anyways.
An end to all of this.
Yeah, Josh, that's the $64,000 question. So let's go back to February 28th when the Israeli and U.S. military campaign started. And even then, President Trump said these operations could go on for 4 to 6 weeks. So here we are into week 4. Is that the original timeline?
Yeah, Jimmy Mack, I saw you guys discussing how crammed up it looked over there in Beirut. And it very much looks like how it is in Palestine, right? So yeah, that's that whole area, the Gaza Strip, all that shit. Yeah, it's very, very congested. You have actually one of the most densest population in the world is actually in the Gaza Strip, which I kind of recently found that out. I think within the last year or something like that. But yeah, it's crazy.
That on the U.S. and Israeli side, that everyone was sort of planning for, perhaps. But even though we're into week 4, it doesn't look like the Iranians are yet willing to surrender, go to the table somewhere in either the previous locations, Geneva, Oman, elsewhere, where they were in indirect negotiations with the United States. And you and I have talked about that in the past to come up with a deal, because right now they are still fighting. Now, they have far less military capability than they did a month ago or 3 weeks ago when this campaign started against them. But with that said, they still have some fraction of ballistic missiles and drones and cruise missiles, and they're still using them. But they're also still being...
Man, that was my old fucking schedule right there, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. But I actually never got off properly because I worked offshore. It took about 2 hours to do, get a crew to get to me, to relieve me. And then by the time I get back, it's been 2 hours of double time, essentially. 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. was my schedule. Yeah, it totally sucks.
So Iran militarily is growing weaker by the day, but they're not completely they're not completely at zero capability. So the question is, how much longer will this campaign go on, and what will Iran do? Again, will it go to the table? Will it meet the demands the U.S. had laid out prior to February 28th, or will the fighting continue for another month or so? These are all the things that it's just really difficult to know right now.
And yeah, this is a situation where we're kind of watching to see how it all plays out. There are so many questions here.
And we're not going to go ahead and get into all of it. Let's go and see if there's... Okay, this is an update on this. Let's go ahead and get that.
In Gulf, we've heard there's other media reporting about possibly having a brigade-sized element of the 82nd Airborne Division also be on standby or forward deployed somewhere to basically mobilize to...
Okay, he's talking over it. A 100-kilogram warhead was used on the Iranian missile that slammed into Tel Aviv early this morning. Significant damage was caused to a residential area. Damn, I wonder how many people got hurt in that. And that's coming from Trey Yingst out there in Tel Aviv. Seeing if there's any other updates, and it doesn't look like there is. So we're going to get into our last story here. Mask-free ICE agents begin patrolling U.S. airports. It came out just an hour ago, right before we started the live stream.
Now, a bit earlier on this morning, we were speaking with Lindsay Tuman over at our Fox 5 Atlanta team, and this is actually a live look inside of Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, the busiest airport in the country. As you can see, the lines aren't as long there as they have been over the last several days, but of course, that shutdown still in effect, and TSA workers being impacted, many of them there working without pay. Now, you're not seeing any ICE agents on your screen right now, but we saw them a little bit earlier, and we know they are at several major airports there, and that includes over at Hartsfield-Jackson, again, the busiest here in the country. I want to talk more about the process itself. We do have John Torres, who is the former acting director of ICE. He's now the president of Security and Technology Consulting at Guidepost Solutions, joining us live. John, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Always good to be here, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And first off, I'm not sure if you can kind of provide some context for folks out there about what ICE presence would look like inside of not just airports, but the busiest airports in the country.
Sure, absolutely. And so ICE is also an agency within the Department of Homeland Security like the TSA. And so what we've seen over the years, and this happens frequently, is that during the major events or a national emergency or even a presidential campaign, ICE agents will get pulled off of their main duties and temporarily reassigned to supplement those other agencies so that they can alleviate some of those pressures or just provide more additional support. So what you will see at an airport like in Atlanta is that ICE agents...
Be good out there, Naomi. Always appreciate it. And thank you for moderating like you always do.
Won't be on the primary inspection lines, or they won't actually be manning the scanning or x-ray machines, but they will be providing support such as during the exits and the entries at an airport, something that is
very true, by the way, Steve.
less specialized, requires less specialized training as those agents have at TSA. So really, they're going to provide support where TSA agents then can be reassigned to those primary duties and help alleviate the lines.
How does that kind of impact the lines there? When you talk about folks that are in the airport, things of that nature, does that deter some people from even going to the airport in general? Is that something that you kind of have experience with?
Sure, and it does in a sense that people are going to be deterred because they don't want to have to deal with those lines. You're going to see people try to find other modes of transportation.
Exactly. There's people that are waiting around the airport like twice around the fucking airport. Like, get real. No one's gonna want to deal with that.
Taking the train on the East Coast, for example, or even driving. But obviously, there are some trips that you have to take a plane, and if you're going to fly, you're going to have to get there hours earlier. I did it myself.
Yeah, like 6 hours earlier.
Just yesterday, knowing that that these lines could be pretty long, and I got there extra early, just to be concerned myself about how long those lines would be. And then on top of that, you have ICE agents that are there, where some people are going to be concerned, especially if they don't have legal status. They're going to think twice about probably going to an airport right now, although that is not the primary mission of ICE right now. Their mission is to support the TSA for those that are assigned at the airport.
And can that be difficult when right now you have ICE agents, of course, but there's always a shortage of employees? Does that put a strain on ICE in general if they are going to these airports to help out there, or is that just kind of part of the job?
Well, I wonder how many were actually like deployed to the airports. Like all of them? I mean, what number are we talking about?
Well, it's a little bit of both, Josh. It can, depending on what areas that the ICE agents are going to be pulled from. They do have the responsibility for enforcing over 400 criminal statutes, in addition to the immigration and nationality laws under the INA. And so, depending on where you're pulling those resources and assets.
Shit. Be good out there, Cameron. Always appreciate you as well, man. Be safe out there.
It may negatively impact their primary mission, but for the most part, as ICE is ramping up, and they're hiring many new agents, as many as 10,000.
Oh, he lost connection.
On TSA, they're funded through 2029. It's very possible that they're the ones that have the most resources right now that can be temporarily reassigned.
And that actually leads me to my next question. I'll ask you in a second, but this is actually a post from Fox News that says, happening now, ICE agents arrive at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport as TSA struggles to manage massive lines. Thankfully, not seeing those massive lines there at this moment. They were stretching outside when this post was made.
Be good out there, No, as well. Appreciate you.
Deployment follows President Trump's pledge to help overwhelm TSA operations during the government shutdown, with delays lasting hours. Now, as far as the funding situation in general, how does that kind of factor into everything? Because as you mentioned, it looks as though we may have lost you there. Do we have you, John?
Yeah, I'm back. Sure.
There you go. And as far as the funding itself, how does that kind of impact all of this? Because you mentioned ICE not really being impacted there, but TSA, of course, is.
Yeah, and so.
Well, yeah, ICE is theoretically funded until 2028 under the Big Beautiful Bill, I believe. And unfortunately, the real people that are really getting fucked over here is TSA. Because there's no DHS funding, because TSA falls under DHS.
The way that this is impacting the agencies right now is this whole standoff is over funding DHS. The Democrats want changes to policies at ICE, but ICE has already been funded, and so they're moving forward with their operations as usual. So this ends up impacting TSA and FEMA, the Secret Service, the Coast Guard, and many of the other agencies within the Department of Homeland Security, as well as cybersecurity. And
so the Democrats really want to defund DHS because they want to defund ICE, but it's irrelevant because ICE is already being funded until 2028. So
unless you're considered essential, which TSA is, they still have to work, but they're not getting paid, which puts a lot of pressure on those TSA officers. And as you see, many of them.
Like, dude, who's going to go to work and not get paid? You know what I mean? I mean, once things get funded, people do get paid. They get reimbursed. But how long are people willing to work for no paycheck? I mean, I'm not somebody that's like that. I am not somebody that works on credit like that. Hell no. If I'm working something, I'm gonna get fucking paid on exactly when I was told that, hey, every 2 weeks or every month, whatever, this is when I get paid. Okay, cool. I'll do the job.
It may be calling in sick so they can do other jobs they get paid, or in fact resigning. And we've seen over 350 of them resign in the past few weeks, several at those major airports because they need to find another income.
All right. John Torres, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, helping to provide that expertise. Anything we...
All right. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough. Obviously, I can't do this shit without you guys and without your guys' support. Hitting that like button, by the way. Double tapping that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate your guys' laborious work on that, by the way. Listen, stick around. We're going to be raiding our buddy Black Dragon. He's live right now, so make sure you guys let him know we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid here. And listen, much love, honor, respect, everybody. We'll be back here tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness, as always. God bless everyone. We'll see you guys very soon. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burns.